For the longest time, we've all bought into this one simple idea. If you want to get someone to do something, you just offer them a reward. The bigger the reward, the better the result, right? Well, today we're going to dig into the science that shows this might be one of the biggest, most widespread misunderstandings about what actually makes us tick, and how the very tools we use to motivate can secretly be sabotaging our best work. All right, so let me paint a picture for you. Imagine you're a student and you are absolutely obsessed with a research project. I mean, you love it. You're driven by pure curiosity, that thrill of figuring something out. Then your professor comes along and says this, $1,000? I mean, that's amazing. It feels like the perfect validation for all your hard work. But then something kind of weird starts to happen. You know that feeling, that pure joy of just doing the thing? Suddenly, it starts to get a little fuzzy. Now it's not just about the science, it's about getting that scholarship. What was once something you got to do, something you loved, suddenly feels like something you have to do to get the prize. And that tiny little shift in your brain, well, it's the key to understanding a massive flaw in how we think about motivation. Yeah, that feeling, that little switch that flips in your brain, it has a name. Psychologists call it the extrinsic reward trap. And it's at the very heart of a motivational model that has run our companies, our classrooms, and even how we parent for, well, generations. And this is what we call Motivation 2.0. It's the old school model, right? The carrot and the stick. It's simple, it's easy to understand, and it's everywhere. Do a good job, you get a treat. You mess up, you get punished. It basically treats us like simple machines that just respond to outside commands. And look, for really basic, repetitive work, it kind of works. But here is the billion-dollar question for the 21st century. What happens when the work isn't basic? What about the kind of work that needs creativity, that needs complex problem-solving, that needs real passion? Well, the evidence is overwhelming that for that kind of work, the carrot and stick model doesn't just fall short, it can actually make things worse. All right, this is where it gets really interesting. Let's dig into some of the fascinating and, frankly, counterintuitive research that shows exactly how and why these external rewards can totally backfire, sometimes with results you would never expect. So one of the first big clues came from a classic experiment by a psychologist named Edward Deci. He took a bunch of people who were already having fun solving this cool creative puzzle. They were doing it for free, just for the enjoyment of it. And then for one of the groups, he started paying them. What do you think happened? And here is the absolute kicker. The moment the money stopped, the group that got paid, their interest just evaporated. They stopped playing. Meanwhile, the unpaid group just kept right on solving puzzles, having a great time. The money, that external reward, had literally crowded out their natural internal desire to do the activity. It turned play into work. Okay, but it gets even weirder than that. Check this out. A famous study found that when a task required even basic brain power, offering a massive reward led to the worst performance of all. I mean, just look at that third bar. It falls off a cliff. The pressure was so intense, the stakes were so high, that it caused what scientists call psychological choking. People got so stressed about getting the reward that their brains just short-circuited. So here's what's actually going on in our brains. Rewards act like blinders on a horse. They make us focus really intently on the finish line. Now, if you're just turning the same screw over and over, that's great. But if you need to think creatively, to look around and see the big picture, that same narrow focus becomes a trap. It literally blocks out the innovative solutions that are hiding just on the edge of your vision. Okay, now it's your turn. I want you to try and solve a classic puzzle. Your job is to attach this candle to a wall so the wax won't drip on the table below. You've got the candle, some matches, and a box of thumbtacks. That's it. How would you do it? Go on, take a second. Pause and really think about it. Did you get it? The solution is so clever because it requires you to fight your own brain's instincts. You have to overcome something called functional fixedness. Your brain sees a box of tacks, but to solve the problem, you have to see the box as a potential shelf. You dump out the tacks, use one to pin the box to the wall, and then place the candle right on top. It's the definition of out-of-the-box thinking. And now for the mind-blowing part. When a psychologist named Sam Glucksberg ran this exact experiment, the group he offered money to solve the puzzle took, on average, way longer to figure it out. The reward, that carrot, actually made them slower and less creative. The pressure to win narrowed their thinking so much they couldn't see the simple solution right in front of them. And believe it or not, the damage doesn't stop at just killing creativity. When you look closer, you find all these other hidden costs. Rewards can crush goodwill. Studies showed paying blood donors actually lowered donations because it turned a selfless act into a cheap transaction. They can also encourage bad behavior. When a daycare fined parents for being late, lateness actually increased because parents just saw it as a fee they were willing to pay. And at its worst, it can lead to cheating and unethical behavior as people take the shortest, dirtiest path to get that reward.
Okay, so if the old way is broken, if the carrot and stick is a trap, what's the fix? What's the new playbook for a world that runs on creativity and passion? Well, we need to upgrade our thinking. Welcome to Motivation 3.0.
Now, this doesn't mean all rewards are bad. It's about how and when you use them. The old way, the if-then reward, if you do this, then you will get that. That's the problem. The new approach is the now-that reward. Now that you've done such an amazing job, here's a bonus to celebrate. See the difference? It's not a transaction, it's unexpected recognition. It's appreciation, not a bribe. So the new model, Motivation 3.0, is built on 3 core universal human drivers. These are the things that truly motivate us from the inside out. They are autonomy, mastery, and purpose. First up, we have autonomy, and this is just our fundamental need to be in the driver's seat of our own lives. We have a deep desire for control, to have a say in what we do, how we do it, and who we do it with. People are most engaged when they feel like they have some ownership, not when they're just following orders. Next up, mastery. You know that incredible feeling of getting better at something you care about? That's what mastery is. It's our built-in urge to improve our skills, to face challenges, and to make progress on things that matter to us. It's about the joy of the craft itself. And the last pillar, which might just be the most powerful of all, is purpose. This is that deep human yearning to be part of something bigger than ourselves. When we feel like our work has meaning, when it contributes to a cause we believe in, our motivation becomes incredibly resilient and powerful. So when you put it all together, the path forward becomes pretty clear, right? It's about moving beyond this outdated, simplistic view of human beings as just a collection of responses to rewards and punishments. The fundamental shift is this. The goal isn't to control people with rewards and punishments. The goal is to build an environment where they can motivate themselves. Your job as a leader, a parent, or a teacher isn't to be a dispenser of treats, but a creator of conditions where people's natural drive can flourish. And there's a quote that just wraps this whole idea up perfectly. It's not about inventing bigger, better carrots. It's about creating a garden where people's internal motivation can actually grow. So I'll leave you with this to think about. In your own life, at your job, with your team, even in your own family, are you still relying on those old carrots and sticks? Or are you ready to start unlocking real, lasting human potential?